Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, or you can still call me One-Eyed Jack, because if you saw my last video, it was about the fact that I'd had a pretty major setback, not with the bees per se, but I've had 3 detached retina surgeries in 3 weeks there in middle April. And it's a shame, because that's right about the time that you've got to be out and tending to your bees and really getting them ready for spring, but I haven't been able to do so. I'm not supposed to be doing any heavy lifting or any stressing or straining. And but I'm out here today because it's the May long weekend here in Canada, May 17th, May 18th. And it's going to finally warm up. We've had another very long, very drawn out winter to summer transition, which they tell me is called spring. It's not like we've had one here for a while. It basically goes from cool, damp temperatures to hot and humid temperatures in the last couple of years. And that's really hard on the bees because they can't really get a head start in the spring. Just a quick look around here. This really should be fully blossomed for things like dandelions, and you really can't see any yet. Trees are starting to bloom, cherries and fruit trees are blossoming, but I'd say they're probably 2 weeks behind, which might actually work in my favor because I'm a good 3 weeks or a month behind as well. So anyway, I've got 5 hives here in Markham that have survived. My hive at home died, so I'll do an autopsy on that hopefully this weekend and post a video on that. All I really want to do for these hives today is de-winterize them, so remove the wraps, remove the insulation that I have on top, and feed them some pollen, and just maybe take a quick look to see that queens are laying. So trying to keep it short and sweet so that I don't hurt myself, but know what the bees are doing and know that I'll be needing to expand their hives pretty soon. Thank you for all the well wishes on the channels, on the comments below in the channel. I really do appreciate it. A special thank you to Carolyn, who offered to come out here and do the heavy lifting for me. It means so much to me. You'll never know how much it means to me, but I really do appreciate it. My wife will come out with me this weekend at some point, or maybe early next week, to add some brood boxes and that type of thing. Right now, we just want to see how the bees are doing, and I'm grateful to be here. You don't know how much you miss life until you have part of it taken away. So enjoy the video and enjoy your time with 2 eyes if you have them, if you're lucky enough to have them. And thanks for joining me at 4D Honeybee. So part 1 of the video will just be me removing the wraps and removing the insulation. I'll just speed you through that because it's kind of boring. I'll show you the first setup here so that you can understand it. I love these wraps. These things seem to have worked really well. You see, each wrap incorporates a screw, a 3-inch screw, and that screw is there just to prevent the wrap from coming up and blocking the upper entrance there. You put one on the bottom as well, as you can just see there, but I don't remove that one, I just leave it off. So you just unscrew this, take off the top, pull the whole thing off, and the insulation is done. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so as you can see, the wraps are about to come off, so I'm going to bring you close to this hive here. Okay, let's see how these bees are doing. Wow. Well, they're doing really well. Oops. I'll leave this lid over here. I'm spilling all the contents of my insulating box here. Okay, so just check it out here. You can see that these bees did not completely eat all the sugar candy that I gave them over the winter, which I think is a good sign. I think that's a sign that they had plenty of their own stores, which is really good. And now I'm just going to remove the wrap and turn over this inner lid because it's upside down right now. I'll knock the candy into the hive so that they continue to feed on it, and this hive is ready. See how easily the wrap just comes right off. Doesn't really bother the bees much at all. You can see how the candy, the sugar candy, ended up as one solid piece, right? It's just what we want. So we're just going to put that in at the top of the I hear a deer over there. Just put them in at the top of the box here, and hopefully there's enough space. Oops, sorry about that. See how I'm out of practice? Hopefully there's enough space for the lid to all close down and see. And actually, as I say that, you can see that's not going to happen, right? So let's get this lid down and see how it fits. Come on, bees. Go away. Go away, bees. Oh. Okay, so that's pretty good. Put the telescoping lid back on, and that's one hive done. Now here's a single brood box hive. I have 2 of these going into this year, and these I will not add a second brood chamber to. I'm going to operate these as single brood boxes and just go straight to honey production with them. I just want to experiment with single brood box versus double brood boxes, which is what I've run to date, just to see if it's easier, more what's the word I'm trying to say? More efficient, I guess, than running 2 brood boxes. Let's see if I can get these bees down. Again, you can see that they didn't eat all of their stores. This sugar candy that I put in was, you know, I'd say they haven't eaten half of it, which is probably good. Again, it means that they had enough of their own stores, and they just, you know, used the sugar candy sparingly, I guess. I'm going to pull a couple frames out of this hive just to see how it's doing. I've got the feeling it is very healthy, and I've got the feeling that my next trip out here, I should probably plan to, sorry bees, I squished a couple there. I should probably plan to put a second brood box on right away. I did have a problem with swarming last year. One of my boxes swarmed. I've basically had one box swarm every year, and I do put out a swarm box, but it's never worked. So, again, I'll just drop a little bit of the sugar in there, but the rest, they obviously don't need. I'm doing just fine with it. See how good the honey production is going already, because they've already got honey and brood in there. Wow. This box is right full of bees, and it needs a second brood box or else it's going to swarm very soon. Okay. I'd be very happy if I could just get one frame out of the middle here and just see what's happening. Get an idea that way. Okay, this frame's coming out. Go nice and slow because we don't know where the queen is and we don't want to roll her. And here we have a nice frame with some brood on it. On this side and on this side we have a nice brood frame with some drone comb. And Otherwise, nice looking hive. This hive is quite full, so I am going to put a second box on it the next time I come on. I pretty much feel that all the hives are doing fairly well. You know, all require management ASAP. You know what I'm going to do also? I'm going to feed these guys a little bit of pollen. Because it's just a single brood box, I'm just going to feed them a half patty of pollen here. Again, just because, you know, the spring is so slow right now, we might not have enough pollen. So, and I'm going to go back to the hive that I previously did and do the same with them. Give them one half of a pollen patty. Okay, so that's it for this hive. It's in very, very good shape, and will need some tending to. Hope I didn't squish anything. Okay, now I'm on hive number 3, and this is the hive I'm most concerned about. Now, the reason why I'm concerned is I thought there was a bird's nest in this hive, or sorry, a rat's nest in this hive, and there may be. I took a closer look, couldn't find one. I didn't see much activity in this hive. As you can see, there are just a few bees going in and coming out, but also it looks different. See how there's a lot of debris there at the bottom? While that's not abnormal in the winter, all the other bees' hives have already cleaned that up. See how there's no such pile at any of the other hives? So this one looks different. It definitely doesn't have as much activity as the others, but we're going to take a look inside and see how it's doing. Right away, the first look is alarming. Can't see any bees at the top of the hive, and it just looks like these bees took less stores as well. See that? They barely touched the sugar candy up there. But again, they were alive just a week ago when I last checked on them, but it may be that they were struggling badly. So let's see how they're doing. Let's see if they're still alive or if I need to get a new hive. Okay, so we'll see what's going on in between the brood boxes. I have seen a few bees here, but it's not looking good for this hive. Let's see. Completely empty frame here. That may be the common theme for this hive. Another empty frame. There's the beginning of the mouse nest. And again, this is surely preventable. The reason why this happened was that I went out and got mouse guards this year, and I went to put them on, and it turned out that they were the wrong size. So, look at that. So instead of being able to adapt them and change, oh, there's a mouse. Huh. Hey fella, trying to find a new home. So instead of giving myself, look at this guy, just won't give up, will he? Instead of giving myself enough time to get new frames, I just didn't have time. I gave myself one day to install the mouse guards, and I didn't. And that's why this guy's here. It's funny, there's still some honey in here. See that? But not anything I would probably feed my bees. Maybe something I would put out to get scavenged. But so the mouse occupied 3 frames. But of course it wouldn't have made life very pleasant for the bees. Last year I had this happen and the bees survived quite nicely. But this year, not meant to be. You can still see there's plenty of honey for them. This hive was a good producer of honey, but it was nasty. So I debated back and forth all year about eliminating the gene line of this hive. It's still got a good 30 pounds of honey up there. Whew. So now the decision was made for me, I guess technically by me, because I didn't put the mouse guards on. Yeah, see, there's lots of, now this is robbing, right? So you can see how the caps are kind of half chewed away and looking in disarray. That's a sign of robbing from other bees. Again, something that very well could have happened because the colony was weakened. Or it could be that they just went through their stores. The way it looks like robbing though, because the caps are not very neat and it's quite chewed out. And there's about 5 pounds of honey on this frame. Now, there's one thing that we need to look at here, and it's the possibility of Nosema, right? So there is some mold at the bottom of this hive. See the mold on that frame there? That's the first bit of mold I've come across. Again, that can just be recent because it's been very damp. But here's something that I haven't seen much in my hives, certainly not in my healthy hives. And that is a lot of droppings inside the hive. See all the black marks there? So that can be a sign of Nosema or dysentery, whereby the bees just couldn't get out in time to vacate themselves and had to do it inside the hive. Like I say, this is more than I've seen on any other hive, so that is probably indicative. It also looks like they're making some emergency cells, some supersedure cells. This wasn't here in the fall. You see it right here? So no idea when they would have been making that, but that's something interesting to look at. Here's where the small cluster died, right around there, in that corner. So something like a disease can, you know, lead to increased death and diminishment of bees, right? Depletion of number of bees, and then they just can't keep themselves warm enough. And again, that might mean that they, let's see how this cluster is right in that corner there. It might mean that they, you know, made it till spring, but then just weren't able to keep themselves warm enough in the latter part of the spring heading into the summer. Because like I say, there was a decent amount of activity at this hive a few weeks ago, but it was never doing as well as the other hives. So it's unfortunate. I'm not pleased about it. It's something that I take full responsibility for, because had I put a mouse guard on, that might not have been the issue. That might not have, I'm sure the mouse contributed in some ways. And actually, wow, looking at the inside of the hive too, it really looks like a dysentery situation. Because look at the state of this hive. That's nasty. See all that poop? That I've never seen before in any one of my hives. So now we've gone from 5 hives to 4 hives in the spring, and this next hive here was my gangbuster hive. It was the hive that did best of them all, but it's not looking like it has that much activity in it right now either. So let's have a look at this one and see what's going on. Okay, there's a decent number of bees in there. Okay. So you can see they've had a little bit of the stores, but not much. A little bit of the sugar. And they're just quiet right now, so Again, there is a decent amount of poop on the front of this hive as well. I'll scroll you down there and have a look at it. So, again, does that constitute Nosema? It's hard to say. If there were 50,000 bees going into the winter, you know, even looking at that amount of poop is really not all that much, in my opinion. But it's just that. It's my opinion, and I'm just a third-year beekeeper, fourth year, I guess, now, with limited experience to begin with. So let's take a look at these guys. We'll feed them some pollen, get rid of the sugar candy here, and just see how they're doing. So I'm just pulling out a frame from the middle. Wow, look at this queen go. Lots of brood. Okay. I'm just gonna take a look at the lower box as well. Just have a quick look at it, and then I will put some pollen in this hive as well. Yeah, this hive's doing great. Wow. Okay, so I'll put one pollen patty in here. The hive is doing great. It's already got lots of brood. And judging by the coverage of this hive as well, I'm going to need to put honey supers on this one soon as well, or they're going to swarm. So